What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, recently, the Portland Trailblazers had a coaching vacancy. Terry Stotts was fired after a series of disappointing seasons with the Portland Trailblazers. And you could tell that the winds of change were in the air. So, um, there was speculation. I think there were three main candidates, if I'm not mistaken. They were Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, and Becky Hammond. Now, of course, Becky Hammond has been an assistant coach with the San Antonio Spurs for quite some time now. Now, it's interesting to note that before Jason Kidd was named the new head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, all of a sudden you saw these articles coming out talking about Jason Kidd's past domestic abuse allegations. Okay, strange timing. Okay, then it was announced that Chauncey Billups was going to be the new head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. And you had all of these so called fans who are up in arms about Chauncey Billups getting this position because they felt they should have went to Becky Hammond. So instead of them giving reasons why Becky Hammond was more qualified than Chauncey Billups at the position, they did something that you normally see in politics. See, in politics, you see it more and more now. Instead of actually having the campaign tell you why their candidate is more qualified, no. What they'll do is a smear campaign against the other opposition, the opponent, so that their opponent looks, squeaky clean by comparison. So they bring up something that happened 24 years ago, supposedly. One night, supposedly, even though the players don't corroborate with her story, but some woman claims that Chauncey Billups, along with I think Antoine Walker and Ron Mercer, I believe, supposedly they sexually violated her. Chauncey Billups says that from what he could recollect, um, she gave him performed consensual oral sex on him. Now, this is my problem with this. It's getting to the point now where an allegation that has no proof, right, is enough to ruin a person's life. Just the allegation. Now, supposedly, she complained of the woman who had sexual intercourse. She complained of having, I think they said that she had some anal trauma, some vaginal trauma, and some things of that nature. As Mike Tyson has said in the past, some people like rough sex, okay? Some people, I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm going to keep it 100 right here. There are a lot of women. All we got to do is go to porn sites, okay? All we got to do is go to porn sites. And one of the main porns that you see is white women, black men. What do they say? My husband was cuckolded by my black bull. My wife taking her first big black cock. Uh, white girl gets hammered by BBC. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of these young white women, these white groupie women, want to experience a lot of shit. So you go back to 1997, and I'm pretty sure this woman was a young woman at the time, and probably some groupie, and she hooks up with these three black ball players, literal giants compared to her. Her mind got to wandering, and she engaged in some type of sexual fantasy of hers. The problem is, more than likely, is that uh, the outcome wasn't to what she expected, which was maybe some type of consistent financial link with these players. That's just speculation on my part, right? But look, I'm speculating. I could be 100% wrong. But why is my speculation worth less than other people's speculation? This was 24 years ago. Um, Shout out to my brother LB because he brought up a point recently. Luke Walton, the coach of the Sacramento Kings, was also accused of sexual assault. But where's the energy? Where's this energy from the feminazis and the woke community and all these simps? Where's the energy at getting him fired and removed? It's like like when you're in the woods and you got the you got the two pieces of stick and you're trying to get that fire started, but like Billy Joel, unlike Billy Joel, you just can't. You didn't start the fire. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Chauncey Billups, or when it comes to R. Kelly, who I don't defend, but I'm just making a point. When it comes to Kevin Hart and the Oscar situation, when it comes to Juicy Smollett, when it comes to Kobe Bryant in death, it's a raging inferno with these motherfuckers. Whatever happened to Kevin Spacey with the allegation that he sexually assaulted a 16-year-old boy? All I heard was that one of the boys, wound up dead somehow, uh, conveniently, and it just disappeared from the headlines. What about Harvey Weinstein? That just disappeared. You know what I'm saying? But going back to this, I hope Chauncey Billups does a good job as a head coach for the Portland Trail Blazers. You're getting one of the best basketball minds out there. He's a NBA champion. He has coaching. I think he's been an assistant coach for a couple of years now. I'm gonna tell you what the real tragedy is. What the real travesty is. The real travesty is having people like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who for many years wanted a head coaching position, but he couldn't get it for whatever reason. Arguably the greatest player in the history of the NBA, couldn't get a head coaching job. Same thing happened to Babe Ruth. Now I'm not capping for Babe Ruth like that, but Babe Ruth was, and he has an argument for being the greatest baseball player, at least the most fabled baseball player ever, right? But he couldn't get a coaching or even he couldn't get a managerial position with baseball, right? And the reason why he supposedly couldn't get a managerial position is because Babe Ruth had every intention of signing black players, and there was this unwritten rule at the time that black players were not allowed in Major League Baseball. But going to the present, Patrick Ewing had to go to the college ranks to get a head coaching position. He had to go to the head. Patrick Ewing was an assistant coach for I don't know how long. Now I understand sometimes some of these guys they may not want a head coaching position. I understand that. But I know a lot of these guys, they did, but they never got it. Bob McAdoo, was an assistant coach. I don't know if he's still an assistant anymore, but he was an assistant with the Miami Heat for I don't know how long. Jim Clemens is probably the least talked about assistant to Phil Jackson that we've seen. Everybody talks about Johnny Ball. Everybody talks about Tex Winters, but nobody talks about Jim Clemens. He was also a very knowledgeable assistant coach to Phil Jackson, the black one that nobody gave a fuck about. I think he had one head coaching opportunity on a bad team, and that's it. I think it was the Mavericks or something before Dirk got there. And of course, Mark Jackson, he can't find a fucking head coaching gig. You know, he's blackballed for some reason. But Becky Hammond is supposed to get a head coaching position because she's a woman. And if you want to talk about tokenage, you want to talk about, someone getting a position based off of frivolity because she's a woman? Nah. Just like you should never give anybody a position because they're black. Our beef is you've had well qualified black coaches, tenured, uh, all of that. But they were denied based on the color of their skin. I'm not saying Becky Hammond should never get an opportunity. She should. But she should never just get opportunities because she's a woman. So that's all I got to say. Tell me what you guys think.